Congratulations. New credit limit, $20,000. If you're broke right now and you're looking for a lifeline, you have this great business idea, but you can't get it off the ground because you don't have access to capital, stay tuned because in today's video, I'm gonna be giving you guys an extraordinary funding play where you can get access to over 300 different banks that are giving out loans to low-income individuals as well as minorities. This is better than reparations. We're talking about the Mission-Driven Bank Fund. And this is all about investing in a stronger financial system through mission-driven banks. Now, before I get into the details, let me give you a high-level overview. This is a bank fund. Big banks pool money together, right? So they say, hey, look, we need to start getting capital into the hands of minorities. But instead of the big banks getting their hands dirty, they pool money into what's called a loan fund. And so they become what's called limited partners. They're putting money into the loan fund. Then there is an administrator or a fund manager. The fund manager decide what investments to make with the resources of the fund. Now, in this case, the Mission-Driven Bank Fund, it's bigger banks lending money to smaller banks, local banks. And a lot of these local banks are CDFIs, MDIs, Minority Depository Institutions, which can include Black-owned banks, Hispanic-owned banks, Asian-owned banks. So they're basically, you have the big banks funneling money to the smaller banks, so those smaller banks can distribute these loans to minorities and low-income individuals. The Mission-Driven Bank Fund works to foster a stronger and more inclusive banking system by investing mission-driven banks that provide capital and financial services to lower wealth rural communities and communities of color across the United States. The 300 mission-driven banks across the country include Minority Depository Institutions, MDIs, Community Development Financial Institutions, and they play a critical role in expanding access to credit in traditionally underbanked communities. They drive access to wealth and income building opportunities, owning a home, expanding a small business, buying land for people and families who otherwise may have been left out of the financial system. Now, these are some of the different partners included in the Mission-Driven Bank Fund. You got Truist Bank, Calvert Impact, which I actually used to work for way back in the day. You got Elizabeth Park Capital Management, Microsoft, as well as Strategic Value Bank Partners. Now, a lot of people be asking me, like, how do I know all this information? Where am I getting this information and data from? I'll tell you, this woman right here, Jennifer Price, she's the CEO of Calvert Impact. Calvert Impact, or Calvert Social Investment Foundation, back when I worked there about 15, 16 years ago, this is a CDFI lender. So they're actually like a lender to the CDFIs, right? So they're a CDFI, but they're a lender to the CDFI, and they have a whole nother division. They have a bunch of different funds where they invest money, not just in the United States. This is a big organization. Jennifer Price was my boss before she was the CEO. She was a portfolio manager. That's where I get a lot of this information. So you could fact check Calvert Foundation right down here in Bethesda, Wisconsin Avenue. They got the bag. They distribute, hundreds of millions of dollars throughout the world. So basically, this Mission-Driven Bank Fund is a $175 million initiative, and it's aimed at closing the racial wealth gap. So I see a lot of people complaining, oh, the banking system is against me and I can't get access to capital. I'm giving you these different funding plays for you to get access to capital to start your business. The mission-driven banking sector comprises 300 institutions, many of which are small, less than 500 million in assets, and are privately owned with limited access to capital. Now, here's the thing. Some of you might think, oh, 500 million. 500 million for bank assets is actually pretty small. So that's not that much to go around. These 300 different banks are receiving money from larger institutions. The mission-driven bank fund partners with banks using financial instruments customized to meet the needs of the banks. Examples of these instruments include equity, debt, deposit, and purchase of securities. The fund plans to align with portfolio companies to help build stronger and more resilient banks by partnering with the banks and providing tailored, subsidized technical service solutions. The bank has implemented a curated impact management and measurement program to track the fund's progress towards closing the racial wealth gap. Now, here are some examples of limited partners: the bigger banks: Banner Bank, Community Bank, Enterprise Bank and Trust, Whitney Hancock, Lake City Bank, Microsoft, Middlesex Savings Bank, People's Bank, Pinnacle Pinnacle Financial Partners, Premier Bank, Regions, TD, Truist, and Warner Brothers Discovery. These are the bigger institutions providing capital or limited partners in the fund, meaning they're putting money and resources into the fund for it to be allocated to the smaller banks. So this is not where you're going to get the money. They're giving the money to the mission-driven bank fund. The mission-driven bank fund seeks to foster a stronger and more inclusive banking system by investing capital and providing technical services to FDI-insured CDFI and MDI banks that target African American, Native American, Asian, Hispanic, and Pacific Islander. All right, let's look at the portfolio. These are the MDIs and CDFIs receiving money through the mission-driven bank fund. Pay attention here. These are banks that you will be able to go to if you're low income, you live in a rural area, or you're a minority, Asian, Hispanic, Pacific Islander, etc. So American Bank, this was founded in 1974, and the bank has about 55 million in assets at the time of acquisition to over 600 million. This is a relatively smaller bank located in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. This is a community bank founded in 2007 by first-generation Americans and entrepreneurs who are needing services to achieve the American dream. All right, so these are the actual banks that you can go to, and you know they're getting funding from larger institutions through the mission-driven bank fund. Anchor Bank is another one. So Anchor Bank is a MDI, so a minority bank, predominantly serving the Hispanic community in Palm Beach, Broward, and Miami-Dade counties. We have a customized lending solution that benefits you. This is a specialty program, non-resident alien loan. So you can get a real estate loan and you don't even have to be a U.S. citizen. This loan features amounts from $100,000 up to $1.5 million and an interest rate of only 4%, a 1% origination fee. And this has a 30-year term. This could be for residential or commercial property. This is Anchor Bank. And as they're saying, they're lending. So you could definitely try to go get a bag from them. Next up, we have Baum Bank, which is based out of Montgomery, Louisiana, with over $1 billion in assets. So it's interesting that even banks with $1 billion in asset are considered smaller institutions. So Baum Bank, that's in Louisiana. You got Embassy National Bank. So this serves primarily the South Asian community throughout the state of Georgia. Next up, we got FNBC Bank. This is based out of Arkansas and Missouri, and this is a community bank that strives to provide financial products for economic development throughout each market and a focus on underserved communities. Next up, we have Grand Bank. So this is a Minority Depository Institution based out of Hattiesburg, Mississippi that serves customers nationwide. So chartered in 1968, this bank is dedicated to breaking the cycles of harmful debt, fostering savings growth, promoting home ownership, and empowering individuals and families to build generational wealth. So that's Grand Bank. You also got Legacy Bank and Trust that serves Missouri, Oklahoma, and Texas. And they primarily focus on lending niches that prioritize majority minority communities, American Indian reservations, and persistent poverty counties across the country. Next up, we got Neighborhood National Bank. This is a nationally chartered CDFI. Whenever you see nationally chartered, that means you can get access to the funds no matter where you might be geographically. So we want to focus on nationally chartered banks because that's where everybody can go and get the bag. So they serve minority owned and women and veteran small businesses and low to moderate income communities. Neighborhood National Bank. Next up, we got Priority Bank. This is out of Northwest Arkansas, and they focus on mortgages, construction, investors, small business, and consumer loans. I'm gonna pin some information in the description of the video, but pay attention to these different programs. A lot of people complain about, we need reparations, I can't get money. I'll tell you this, I'll keep it 100% transparent. I recently got a minority business loan for one of my businesses. Even though I don't really need it, the fact that I'm eligible for it and I went through the process and the paperwork to go get it, the money was just too easy. So there's a lot of opportunity just like that. You got to do a little bit of homework. Sometimes it's not just going to be, click a couple buttons and the money just pops into your account. You have to go research. You have to speak with someone. You might have to have a business plan and a way of articulating how you're going to use the funds. This arguably is better than reparations because this is something that is tangible. This is something that you can actually get access to. So there's no excuse for you not to have access to capital, especially in America. There's so many different financial institutions, so much money out here, so much information. We live in the technological era where I can get access to money from a bank on the other side of the country without stepping foot inside of it. Those type of opportunities were not around 20 years ago. In today's day and age, you got to take advantage of the information age in the banking system to get access to capital, put that into a business that's making some money, pay the loan back, and then everything after that is profit. You got equity, you got cash flow, and you get more access to capital when you pay it back, not when you run off on the banks. If anyone is interested, if you need a consultation, I could break this stuff down to you. I can make some introduction to these different bankers. If you want, I've dropped a link to book a consultation with me. Otherwise, I'm gonna send you some information. Now, the mission-driven bank fund, they are basically taking hundreds of millions of dollars, putting it into a fund. They've tasked a couple different companies as the fund manager. So they're going to decide which MDIs, which CDFIs they're going to give the bag to then redistribute it to you. This is a redistribution of wealth. The same thing that people want as far as reparations, but you just have to open your eyes and see that this is the version of reparations, not cash payments and handouts. It's going to be through a business. So you need a business entity to access these M's. So I've dropped some information in the description of the video. Again, that's the mission-driven bank fund. You got to look at the portfolio banks that are receiving these funds because you know that they have millions of dollars to lend out. So that's a starting point of where you should be focusing your energy if you want to get this money. That's all for today. Until next time, take it easy and we'll talk to you soon.